Welcome to Crappens. Don't wait a week for a new video. Join our Patreon at the Crappens On Demand level for instant recap access. Link in description. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Watch Our Crappens, a podcast about all that crap on Bravo that we just love to talk about. I'm Ben Mandelker, and joining me is the one, the only, the winner of the Super Bowl, Mr. Ronnie Karam. Hi, Ronnie. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Doing so well. Congratulations on your victory last night in overtime against the 49ers. You just did a great job out there.
Hell yeah, that's why I gave Taylor such a big old smooch at the end of it. Guys, what happened with Taylor and Travis? You guys, why was she yelling? Why did it look like she was having an uncomfortable conversation with the guy in charge of the NFL? And then why wasn't Travis hugging her hard enough? I need to know everything. Is Travis respecting Taylor?
It doesn't matter why, because guess what? The whole thing was rigged anyway.
Well, I'll tell you this much. Ta-ta-ting-you, ta-ta-ting-you.
Shop like a billionaire.
Yeah, it was a big night of Americana yesterday for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, of course, anyone who watched the Super Bowl last night, who also listens to the show, probably thought about Ronnie, because Ronnie is the one who introduced me personally to the fact that there was a website out there, a sketchy website called Temu. We called Temu, but it's actually Temu. And then last night, I guess they had their big coming out to America because they booked about 40 million commercials during the telecast. It was like every 3 minutes, it's like, shop like a billionaire. And I was like, this fucking song, please make it stop. And of course, by the end of the night, I was like, every time I hit the bridge, I was like, shop like a billionaire.
Now, I did not watch the Super Bowl, not to rain on anyone's parade, because I don't believe in cheering on brain damage, which I think that America does. I think America is like, yay, you know what? We're going to throw people into a ring. We're going to mush their brains, and we're going to pay them a few $1 million, and we're going to say it was all worth it. And then we're just going to ignore them once they become, abusers or murderers later on in life, which I think is what we do. Shame on us as a country. Shame on you guys for supporting on. Now, that said, of course, I'm still American, and people were texting me about this Temu ad. I would like to take credit for normalizing Temu before the Super Bowl. Because when I said Temu, everybody's like, oh my God, Ronnie, murderer. And you're making me feel like a terrible person for going on this site and supporting identity theft or whatever the hell else you people have been emailing me about. Listen, I support a legit company, as you might have seen in the new hit music videos that came out last night called Temu. And meanwhile, I was skipping the brain damage fest that you guys are so proud of and taking part in every year.
Are you really?
And guess what I did while you were taking part of that? I was cuddling up with the comforter that I brought from Temu before it was cool. So suck it, people. And by that, I mean my comforter.
When you say brain damage fest, does that include or not include the stuff that we normally watch? Because one could make an argument. So, hi everyone, welcome to the show. We are here. We're actually talking about the Traitors. But before we dive into that, we're just a few days away. This is it. We are 5 days away from the Golden Crappies. Ronnie and I, we are like at a fever pitch of preparations. It's so exciting. You may have already seen on social media the people who are announcing that they're going to be presenters at it. It's going to be great. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. Please come. If you're here in Los Angeles and if you still have that Temu song in your head, then come sing it with us. No guarantees that we'll actually sing it. It's February 17th at the Palace Theater, downtown LA. If you can't make it, Moment is going to be streaming it. And all the necessary links are going to be at watchourcrappens.com. Also, by the way, don't forget to vote. Voting is going to be open through Thursday. Some of these races are incredibly close, like tiny, tiny margins. It's a real showdown in many of the categories. So if you really want your voice heard in our award show, be sure to vote. And we're going to announce the winners on Saturday. So we're excited about that. And then today, by the way, something that's relevant to both the Traitors and the Super Bowl is this. There's only one person, I think, in America who thinks that their personal life could actually rival the Super Bowl. And that person is the Traitors' very own Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen like dropping hints like that she and Marcus have broken up. Like, can you believe it?
Oh my god! Like I'm gonna post on my Instagram during the Super Bowl, and be like, so guys, should your friends like delete your ex's number from their phone? Like, let's vote about it.
Yeah, like I unfollowed Marcus like because I realized like that maybe like basketball like isn't where it's at. Maybe I should follow Taylor's lead and be like football like.
Where the real men are like, I feel like football's like manlier men. Yeah, apparently Larsa and Marcus broke up. I can't believe it. Whose purse is he gonna hold now?
I mean, what's going to happen with their podcast? What's going to happen with separation anxiety? Now it's just going to be called separation. I mean, what this is America's podcast.
Right. I like have like anxiety, like it's like Marcus left. Like my purse is on the ground right now. That's like so dangerous. Like I feel like it could like XYZ get like stolen.
I'm like doing this podcast alone, like, and it's just like weird, like it's like this, that, and XYZ. But what if there's no Z? It's just like this, that, and XY.
Yeah, really, really terrible time for us. God, speaking of brain damage, it really just keeps coming back to that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we'll see, because I feel like knowing Larsa, they probably got into a fight, and by the end of the week, they're going to be back together. So we'll be in a holding pattern on this one. But yeah, Larsa managed to try to compete with the Super Bowl. She tried to compete with Taylor Swift, let's be honest. And I don't think it really worked, but here we are talking about it. So that was the hot Traitors news.
It worked for a lot of people. I saw it all over the internet last night. You know, the internet's like the world's biggest TV screen. So
yeah, I mean, she was definitely. I saw this. She wasn't necessarily trending on Twitter, which I was sad for her about. But then today she was, and she was trending under the word #rigged, which I think is hilarious. I don't know. I like the idea of like rigged and Larsa. I feel like if anything is rigged, it's Larsa. So that felt good.
Just her entire personality.
Her persona's rigged.
Larsa's just rigged in general.
Yeah. Anything that happens with Larsa, that's rigged. That's rigged.
Okay, let's get into the Traitors. Speaking of rigged, actually, I like how this just all kind of blends in together. We got brain damage with everything we talked about before. Let's talk about being rigged. Now, this is obviously rigged, right? They pulled some Big Brother on this shit where they saw that Peter the Bachelor was about to get sent home. Deservedly so. What a bozo, by the way, making himself the big enemy of everybody. Like, what a bozo. So he was deservedly going to get banished. And then there's a magical fire ceremony to come save whoever's going to get murdered. To save fucking Peter? Are you kidding me? You can't do that. Now, people are saying it's not rigged because they are copying everything from Traitors UK. And Traitors UK had this same thing happen on the exact same episode, which proves that it was not. But then I heard that was not for murder. They messed up the banishment, but not the murder. So, you know, I don't know. I say rigged.
Listen, if the powers that be can rig the Super Bowl so that way Taylor Swift can advance her agenda, the Traitors can be rigged too. No, by the way, I do not believe that whatsoever, and I cannot believe there are people who seriously think that. I don't know if you heard that, Ronnie, but that's why the rigged was
that it was rigged so Taylor Swift would look better that her boyfriend won, or what?
No, it's that like Taylor Swift. It was like I believe it was viewed as an anti-MAGA rigging. Like Taylor Swift is like it's honestly it's so preposterous that it's ridiculous. But on a show like the Traitors,
I need to be explained. I need it to be explained.
Okay, so I think if I remember correctly, because I didn't read it very carefully, it's that I don't think that Taylor Swift is pro Donald Trump, and so I think if I remember that the conspiracy is that that Kansas City was going to win to advance Taylor Swift's anti-Donald Trump agenda. So the entire thing was rigged.
Okay.
Gravity and physics with balls and catching and et cetera. That was all rigged. So
well, listen, I'm a person who thinks everything is rigged. So sounds good to me. Let's get
in this case, I am suspicious that there was rigging here because I thought it was a curious timing. So previously on the Traitors, after losing 4 faithfuls to banishment, a traitor was finally caught by the faithful. The Traitors are weakened, But beware, a predator is most dangerous when wounded.
Murder, murder, I have a bangs. That's all I hear from Alan coming. Murder, I'm dressed like a tuna caught in a web. In the ocean.
Murder. I'm the fourth duck sibling. Huey, Dewey, Louie, and Alan.
And
murder. And murder.
Huey, Dewey, and murder.
Because he has the little DuckTales thing in the front of it. His hair poking out is very DuckTales, right? You know?
Yeah. So where we left off was basically Dum Dum Dan got sent home. Because in this game. So he's out of here. And now that leaves Parvati and Phaedra alone as the murderers. So they meet up and they start talking. And then Alan interrupts him and he's like, you must pick another murderer. But whoever you pick means you can't murder somebody. So they pick Peter because Peter is on to them. And Parvati famously is like, wouldn't it be great to get him together to murder his friends? So that's where we left off. And guess what? They tried it. Now, you can't just seduce a bachelor. The bachelor is well oiled and well practiced at blowing off seductions. That's literally his job. That's
is
what
true. That is true. And I had a feeling this was going to fail because since Peter led the charge to get out a traitor, he is going to be like riding that high, and he's going to now his like ego is going to be inflated, and he's going to say, not only did I get out the traitor, now I can get out all the traitors, and I've got people following me, and he's going to be on some moralistic, journey that he is going to be the one to rat them all out. So I knew that when Parvati dangled it in front of him, I was like, he's not going to take it. He wants to be the one to say, no, I was faithful and I found you guys out. I think it was in her mind, it was a very fun, exciting move for like a TV show, but it was not a realistic one. And she swung and she missed, which, Phaedra is the one who is suffering from all these big swings. Dan swung and missed with Bergie, and now Parvati swung and missed with Peter. And Phaedra is the one that is going to be in the hot seat because of all this bullshit.
But Phaedra is also not swinging. She is putting herself in kind of a floater position where she's letting everybody else make these decisions where she can just turn around and blame them in the end, which I don't know that that's her motivation for doing it, but they're making the decisions. Now, I think she's doing it because she saw very early on that they're going to play against her, which they both did, not only in the beginning, but then again when Dan tried that shit again with her. So I think she's just patiently waiting for these two dum-dums to shoot themselves in the foot, which they're doing. They're doing pretty well. And she also knows that Parvati's completely fucked. And if Parvati tries it with her and she swings it back on Parvati, Parvati's going to be acting guilty because she is guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Parvati,
by the way,
I just want to say I read an interview with Parvati this week, and she explained the reason why she has so many headbands is because she brought a wardrobe in that was going to be like a callback to Blair Waldorf from Gossip Girl. And so she's dressing sort of like Blair Waldorf because she wants to be a Blair Waldorf character. So there's that.
Well, this podcast loves a headband. And we built a whole character around one girl's justice headband because she constantly was striving for justice and would wear a justice headband. And I feel like it has nothing to do with us, obviously, but I just felt like a little hug when she called it her murder headband. What'd she call it? She named her headband.
I think she called it a murder headband. Yeah, I appreciate it.
This is my murder headband. She said something like that.
I love a murder headband.
We love a themed headband on this show. We love it.
So Alan comes in and is like, guess what? It failed. And so then it cuts back to Peter saying, I'm faithful to the end, and I want to be part of winning this the right way. There's no way in the world I could betray my team. Like looking into Bergie's eyes, looking into Trichelle's eyes, I've given them my word. Like I can't. There's no way I could do that. I'm like looking into Trichelle's eyes. You know what I would look into when I look into Trichelle's eyes, I'm not thinking like this sweet lady who's put her trust in me. I just see like someone who's ready to call the manager on me.
Girl, you look into Trichelle's eyes, you just fall into a coma like the people in Awakenings, I don't imagine anybody's ever looked into Trichelle's eyes and come out of it okay. Okay, there's nothing in there. It's like looking into such a depth of nothing that your brain fumbles the ball. You know what I mean?
What is this?
Back to football.
Is this like Angela's Ashes? What's going on here? Let's like relax, okay? You guys are not like poverty stricken, like trying to make it through the day. I've never even read it. Is that what it's about? Is Angela's Ashes about Trishelle? I just feel like it's a book about like tough times. It's not like, it's not like In America. Remember that movie where the guy's like, I just have to I have to win this carnival game to win money for my family. And the kids are like, Daddy, stop it, Daddy.
We're New York immigrants and I'm going to make it by winning this carnival game.
Daddy, don't go through our money, Daddy. And he's like, I've got to. It's like, it's not like that.
Yeah, it's not like that. And also, you don't win a game of morals. This game is about fucking traitoring and murdering, okay? You need to do it. And what do you think is going to happen when there's only a few of you left? You need these people dead. Nobody wants to trust Trishelle and Bergie. What are you, an idiot?
Yeah. Oh, Trishelle. So, Parvati goes, what a dummy. I guess he doesn't want to win that badly. Harumph. And so Alan's like, well, things have gone from bad to a lot worse for you this evening. There will be no murder tonight, and everyone will be turned up at breakfast tomorrow unmurdered.
I love that Phaedra's giving her such shit. She's like, okay, Parvati. She's like, I know. And she's like, yeah, you suck. And she's like, I know, it's not a good look for me, okay? She goes, this could be your very last meal, Parvati. She's like, I get it, Phaedra.
The game continues for the traitors because once again, let me remind everyone, there was no murder.
There has been no murder. And Phaedra is like, oh, I'm sorry, Parvati. And she goes, well, it turns out the bachelor is not seducible. And she's like, well, her fault, basically. So she's devastated. But this is what happens when a traitor's back is against the wall. I will rise from the ashes. She's like, okay, Parvati.
Yeah, you may rise from the ashes, but the producers are going to just throw in some bullshit ceremony that keeps your ashes down in the ashes. So Angela's ashes,
really
if you
bad.
will.
Angela's ashes. I will rise from Angela's ashes.
Angela's Ashes famously was about a family that went on to a reality show where they betray each other, right?
One of the most famous lines from Angela's Ashes was, oh my God, like, what if, like, my boyfriend is, like, sent home, like?
Oh, I do remember there was a movie of Angela's Ashes, and I remember there was, like, a really climactic moment where they said, not my burgalicious.
This is about Frank McCourt's early life in Limerick, Ireland. Oh. It also includes his struggles with poverty and his father's alcoholism.
It's a real joy-filled book.
Yeah, it was comedy of the year. That was great.
I actually really I remember my mom read it. It was like, Ben, I read Angela's Ashes. It is absolutely wonderful, and you should read it. And I've always felt guilt that I never read it because my mom recommended it so highly.
I'm going to finish Dune first. back in kindergarten when Ben started Dune.
I'm on a theme of like reading books about sand and ashes. If it's a small particle, I'm going to read it.
Okay. I keep hitting the mouse in my notes and it takes me to the previous page. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. And guess what? I just hit a line of Phaedra saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Parvati. Okay. So now we go to breakfast and there's no murder. So now is the part where everybody comes in one by one to breakfast and pretends that they're very happy to see each other, which I mean.
Yeah. So Bergie and Phaedra come in first, and he's like, wow, first one's in. And Phaedra's like, snap. This is the part where she just sort of says generic things because she doesn't want to commit to any sort of statement about anything. And Bergie's like, yeah, we get to watch everyone else. She's like, yeah, where do you want to sit? He's like, let's go to the end so we can watch everyone. She's like, oh, yeah. Duh. And she I'm like now getting way too excited right now. I need to like calm down. Take a breath, Ben. You were podcasting. Phaedra, did you notice that she was making so many faces this episode? Like she was like going through every single emoji in her phone.
She does.
Right? That was like her big
She
thing.
was
to
making
get
a
out of
lot of
saying
faces.
anything.
This is what I call this part where Phaedra starts looking guilty with food. Phaedra, I think Phaedra looks the guiltiest whenever there's food around. I mean, obviously there was the boiled egg, boiled egg, boiled egg, and then there was the I'm gonna have this. What was it? She's like, I want this ham. I don't know. There was something else that she was talking about. And then today she acted really funny around food too. But also she kind of, Bergie's too much of a dum-dum to pick up on this, but he's like, well, I don't think they're going to murder Kate, so I'm thinking maybe it's going to be Peter, Trishelle, or John. And she's like, oh, so you think they're going to break up your crew? Because you are like a gang. And he's like, yeah, we are. I'm not going to lie. That wasn't a compliment, Bergie. Okay. I feel like anybody else would have been like, uh-oh, Phaedra wants me out. I'm going to get her.
Yeah, I was actually a little surprised she didn't ping any radars by sort of saying something kind of dismissive about the crew. So then Sheree, Kate, and MJ are next to come in, and Sheree still has no idea what's going on. She's like, wow, Macy's looks a little different this morning. It's like, you're not at the mall, Sheree.
She's like, yeah, so we finally got out of Traitor, so is now where we spend the Wheel of Fortune?
Do I get to buy a vowel now? So Bergie's like, well, that felt really good.
Ease? You got ease? You got ease? I've got ease in my house. You got ease?
So Bergie's saying how he's like, yeah, we all thought Dan was in our group. Like, we all thought Dan in our group, which is not a gang, was a traitor. And our number 2 was Parvati. And then after that, we have like no idea. So we're back to square one after that. And I'm like, why? Like, what I expected was going to happen this episode was for Parvati to say, okay, you got Dan out. Why are you guys still suspecting me? Like, why? Like, this is actually so wrong. Is it because I'm a woman or something like that? Like, you found a traitor. Why am I still a traitor? You already got the. You already rooted
woman.
Why
This
not
is
do it?
misogyny. How
Do
dare
it.
you?
Do it. You know.
No.
And if anything, I would have said, you know what? You guys are all excited because we are all excited because we routed out a traitor, and the only one who didn't vote for the traitor was actually Peter, and he's still pressing on me, and he didn't even vote for the traitor, so I think that's suspicious. She should have said that.
Yeah, next thing you know, Peter's going to try and take away a woman's right to vote, and I will not stand for it.
Use whatever you can. Do it.
Well, don't encourage that. It's terrible. So, unless it is really the case, in which case, get in. So then Bergie is trying to talk it all through. And Kate's like, oh, my God, just one at a time, please. We're like literally here forever, okay? Just less of you, okay? Less of you, more pancakes. That's what I would prefer right now.
So Parvati is really worried about breakfast, and she says Peter's going to say that she's worried that Peter's going to say that that the traitors tried to recruit him. And she's worried about how he's going to use that information.
Yes. And he doesn't, which is kind of shocking. So Peter comes in with John, and everyone's like, wow. Cause this part does get kind of old, where one by one they walk into breakfast and everybody's like, oh my God, thank God, it's John. It's John, everybody. And it's like a good solid 20 minutes. It feels like 20 minutes of that. So Peter and John come in next, and Peter is acting so suspicious, but doesn't say anything. And Parvati is also acting suspicious because she's Parvati, and I think that's the only way she knows how to act. I mean, every time they cut to Parvati, even if it's just like, oh, look, gang, today we're not going to play a game. We're just going to go fly a kite. And then it cuts to Parvati, and she's like, oh, like, tone it down, lady.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're trying to be like Blair Waldorf, but you've got to even Blair Waldorf did not act like this. You got to like reel it in, okay? You are trying to not look suspicious, and all you're doing is squinting at everyone as if you're like trying to find out what they were doing at 3 p.m. yesterday. Like, you just have to like chill, Parvati.
Yeah. So she's not chill, but neither is Peter. And Peter like comes in like
it's like shake,
like Like I don't know what his deal is. He looks like he found a, dime bag in the back or whatever. And
I
he's
know.
feeling guilty about it. I don't know what his deal is, but he's like sweating, looking around. So he's like, I believe that Parvati's a traitor and she's the one who gave me that recruitment letter and I've been aggressive on her, but guess what? I'm not letting up on her whatsoever.
The truth was that it was Parvati, because she's been played the social game so wrong and she's acted so suspicious of everyone. She really wasn't in a place where she could have said, Peter, are you okay? You look like you're squirming. Because then everyone would be like, see, that's Parvati as a traitor. Like, it would have been up to Phaedra to do that, but Phaedra's never going to do that. So he really got away with it being so nervous because no one else picked up on it. It was just shocking.
Yeah. Well, also, the other people are always accusing people over the smallest thing. Why they just don't accuse Peter because they're like, oh my God, Peter's like the leader of the faithful. So it really is.
I love this show that Peter is faithful, but we're acting like he's somehow a traitor. Like, how come they didn't suspect him? That's ridiculous. It's like they can figure out that he's actually faithful, but why do you trust him so much? He's actually like doing the best job he could possibly be doing as a faithful, and we're mad at him.
Kind of, but I don't think so. I just think he's with a bunch of dum-dums because he's acting so suspiciously that I can't believe nobody's not like, oh my God, Peter's like literally sweating buckets right now at the table.
He was. No one was picking up on it. So now they're waiting. Now it's down to Trishelle or Kevin, which one of them is going to get murdered. And Bergie thinks it's going to be Trishelle, and CT thinks it could be half and half. But then guess what? Kevin and Trishelle walk in together, which means that no one was murdered, which means MJ was like, well, everyone came back, so that means that one person, like someone was recruited. That's what that means. And at this point, I'm hoping they would look at Peter, who's sitting there like water shaking in his hand, like Bethany Frankel in that one
really
scene.
Is.
But no, of course not. They don't.
He really is. So Bergie's like, yeah, because there was a recruitment. That means there's not a murder. Did you mean murder? So then Parvati and Peter are doing this stare down thing. And she's like, why isn't he saying anything about the recruitment? What is his game here? I'm going to do this to take all the heat off myself. I'm going to say things like, Peter, why do you look like that? I mean, she even talks to people like with the Disney villain voice.
I know.
Like later when she walks in, she's like, oh, I guess so the good people are sitting around talking to each other. So the bad people can say anything. Well, aren't you all goody two shoes? Anybody want to loan me their voice for a pair of legs?
I know. Yeah, could you stop talking like Ursula? That's not going to help your case. How about this? Parvati, could you stop asking if anyone has Dalmatians? That's not going to help you right now, okay?
Get me those puppies.
So
Okay.
she says, well, Peter doesn't say a word about the recruitment. So if Peter's going to try to hold on to this recruitment that he turned down, then I can manipulate him. Like, cut to tomorrow, Peter walking in with the headband on. And they're like, guys, what's going on with Peter? He's like, I fell into a trap. A headband trap.
Yeah. The headband trap.
He was manipulated by Parvati.
So Alan comes in and he's like, hello, my little rogues and knaves. So guys, guess what? You can figure it out on your own. What's happened here? But first, I have a philosophical question for you. What's more annoying? A band on your head or a band that's stuck in your head?
Shop like a billionaire.
Temu. Anybody?
If a reality star falls in the forest and there's no one there to hear it, do they make a sound? Well, we're about to find out. In the case of Larsa Pippen, the sound is like XYZ.
Like Timberlake. XYZ. Ouch.
Like I've fallen and I can't get up like.
That tree almost fell on my head, like.
In other news, Larsa Pippen fell over in the woods. So it was very tragic.
Sandra speaks for us all when she goes, oh no, this means we're going to be running around in the woods. I love that Sandra just shows up and says the most obvious shit, and then everybody acts like she's the second coming of Einstein. It is hilarious. Later in the episode, stick around, everybody, because Sandra is going to teach people what numbers mean. Okay?
I know. Well, it's a shame that you haven't really seen Sandra in her prime because she was so in the seasons that she won of Survivor. She was just so excellent and so hilarious. I remember one season she like hid behind a bush and just like eavesdropped, and I just it was just if you could just watching Sandra like eavesdrop is like she's like the most eavesdroppy person. She's literally like my old edition of Clue that I had, where it was like Mrs. White, and it was like Mrs. White listening in, all exaggerated on the card, and that's like what Sandra does. And it's so good. I want more classic Sandra in this season.
Well, she's really good in this, actually. She hasn't had a lot of screen time, but I think she's going to last a long time. I think that she's one of those players that is going to make it to the finals, and you're just going to have to wait until the second half and all the dumb people are done sucking all the air out of the room and gone. That you start seeing more of her, because this episode, when she started teaching people what numbers mean with pool balls, I was dying laughing. They're like, what? She goes, because if you got 5 here, then you got 2 there. 5 is more than 2. They're like, oh.
That being said, Sandra's theories have all been incorrect all season long, so that's fine.
That's true.
Although she got one in there. That was okay. We'll get there. So Parvati's like, so everyone.
I'm doing a facial, by the way. I'm gonna do a little red light red light therapy while we do this recap. My skin hurts. Go ahead, Ben.
So everyone who got recruited here, come on, fess up, everyone who got recruited. Not me. I'm definitely not a traitor. I'm not a traitor whatsoever. I might be squinting at you, but I'm not a traitor. And they're like, okay, Parvati. She says, is it you, Peter? Is it you?
Yeah, she is really acting very guilty. And so she goes, Peter, are you the traitor? And he's like, we shall see. Ha ha. I mean, ha ha. And Kate's like, hey, let's not judge our faithfuls, okay? Maybe they actually said no, thank you. You know, there are such a thing as non-thirsty people in the world. I've never met one. I've certainly never seen one on this channel, but they exist, I'm sure.
And Bergie's like, yeah, like maybe someone got a letter last night and they denied it. I mean, and they're just like not saying it. Maybe someone did. So Parvati's like, okay, everyone, raise your hand if you got the letter. Anybody? Somebody's lying. If I were a traitor, I'd know exactly who got it, but I'm not a traitor whatsoever. I've never been inside that turret. Not a traitor.
So then Peter's like, well, I mean, I didn't get murdered, so I guess that means I'm not a traitor, right, Parvati? She goes, well, he says, and now that means you're not a traitor too. Wait, what did he say?
He said, Parvati, I guess this means I'm not a traitor if I'm still here. I'm like, actually, it means you're more likely to be a traitor, you dum-dum. Why does that exonerate you? And Parvati goes, well, that's a change of tune. Now you're saying no. Peter said...
I got confused on this.
I think that Peter said that Parvati was not a traitor. And because Parvati was like,
sense.
oh, well, that's a change of tune. Now you're saying, I'm not a traitor? What's up with that? Maybe I am a traitor, Peter. It's like, Parvati, stop that. And he's like, well, the fact that I'm still, doesn't that mean that you're not a traitor? Because if you were a traitor, you would have killed me. She goes, I know you've been gunning for me for a very long time, Peter. That's a big change of heart. That heart is so big, I'm going to put a headband on it, except it'll be called a heart band.
And he's just kind of giving her this smug little look, you know. And she's like, oh, my God, I'm done with his smug little smile looking at me like he's got it all figured out. Today, something just fell downstairs. I'm not sure what it is. I'm blaming the dog. Today.
It's Parvati. Parvati's in your house, Ronnie. The traitor is in your house.
Wouldn't be surprised. It's really windy. It blew down the fence outside. So a lot of things are being blown down. I don't know how that happened inside, but the wind is strong. Yeah. The Lord is strong, is what I'm saying. So anyway, she's pissed at his smug little face. And I agree with her. I'm so ready to see his ass get kicked off today. And I'm so excited he's going to get kicked off. Surely nothing's going to happen to fuck this up, right?
And this is where she says, today I've got my predatory headband on and I'm coming for that bachelor.
So now Peter takes his little crew of 5 to the bar to talk. And he's like, guys, this has to be quick. Okay. This is going to be shocking. Please don't doubt me. Please trust. Now, look, I'm going to tell this to the doll first and practice. So I'm more confident telling you. I'm not a doll. I'm a real person. That's Trishelle, bro. Okay, whatever.
Okay. First, before I announce this, I just want to share with this hat stand that has a beret on it. Like, that's me. I'm still Trishelle. Sorry.
Okay, anybody? I'm going to practice on this chocolate croissant. Why are you talking to a chocolate croissant? Oh my God, you guys, the doll's talking. The doll is talking.
The doll hat stand with the bows on it's talking, guys. The traitors all over us.
Okay, so he tells them they tried to recruit him. But guys, I'm going to be with the faithfuls until the end.
Right. And goes, I promise you, I didn't want to say anything, but like tonight we have to banish Parvati. And after we banish Parvati, it's going to be revealed that she's a traitor. So that's 2 traitors in the room. And so then Phaedra walks in and Briggs like, oh, hey, what's going on, Phaedra? What's going on? And he's like, and Peter goes, 1 second, Phaedra. Can you give us a minute? Thank you so much. I'm like, oh, fuck yourself, Peter.
Yeah, he's the worst. And she just leaves, but she's like, Peter and his pals, the Peter pals, they have these secret meetings. I love her off the cuff naming, and then she just sticks with it the rest of the time. Because I mean, this is a woman with 90 million businesses, and she really just tries to brand that the rest of the episode. She's like, what do we think about the Peter pals?
You know what? I honestly like Peter Pals because I'm so sick of on Big Brother. Every time people decide to start an alliance, like, guys, we got to name our alliance. How about this? The machine gun carrying total people. And you're like, what?
Murdering mastiffs motorboats.
The Indiana Joneses in the Temple of Big Brother Doom. Like, oh. And then they refer to that all season long.
Yeah, when What's His Buns was on, that was the Renegades. Oh God, that was the
Mavericks,
worst.
The Renegades.
What was the other? I mean, there have been so many all guy alliances on Big Brother, but
You know, my favorite one was, this is a real throwback. There was a guy named Marvin, I think on season 5, who was like, let's call our alliance the Santa Monica Van Boys. Because I think they rode in a van. Production move took them from a hotel in Santa Monica to like the studios. So their alliance was the Santa Monica Van Boys.
Oh my gosh.
It's always stuck with me.
So Phaedra goes to the billiard room where the ladies are starting to form their own alliance. This is the Bravo people mostly. So it's all the Bravo people, I think.
Did you notice, sorry to interrupt, did you notice that they had put like a pillow by the door? So it's like anytime an outsider came in, it would knock over the pillow. It was like some sort of like warning pillow. I don't know how it would have, I don't know what sort of advance notice it gave them, but they definitely had some sort of system set up that every time someone came in the door, a little pillow fell over.
You're literally in a house where everything makes noise. There is nothing in this house that doesn't make noise. And you found the pillow?
The pillow's your warning? You're warning that someone's walking in on you?
Leave a book. You're in a library. Take a book, lean it up against the door. It would be pushed down if somebody came in. A pillow?
I know.
So this is so The Bachelor's idea. Guys, put a pillow there.
So Phaedra comes in and she's like, I just walked in and they said, could you not come in? We need to have privacy. So MJ goes, who said that, Peter? I need to go over there. So then MJ, she can get to the bottom of this, guys. Don't you worry.
So she's going to go try. So Trish, back in the other meeting, Trishelle's like, okay, this is what I wanted to do. I'm like, I think we should keep Parvati because she's a wounded bird, you know? But Phaedra has all those Bravo people, you guys. Phaedra's the one. Now, she's finally onto something, right? This is like one time she's finally onto it, and nobody's going to listen to her.
I know, because she used up all her credibility with Peppermint. So now, like, I was like, yeah, Trishelle, whatever. And Trishelle is, you know, her theory is, again, that, like, Dan had to give out a name, so he had to give out another traitor to save himself, and he did, and no one's listening. So then Peter's like, trust me. Here's the plan. Okay, here's the plan. We have to banish Parvati tonight. Now, as it happens, they're going to hit success no matter which way they go. But I'm like mad. I'm like really mad that they're like doing so well right now.
Yeah. Okay, so Peter's like, trust me, guys, it's Parvati. So then MJ comes in and she's trying to sneak in and listen. And then she just knocks. She just goes in. She's like, knock, knock. And Peter's like, oh, MJ, sorry. Can we have a minute? I mean, what morons these people are. Who does this? You are not the majority of the house. You guys can't act like this.
And MJ goes, give you 1 minute of privacy because, and MJ's standing there so awkwardly. She's sort of like in the corner all the way across from them. And she's just sort of like has this stance and she's wearing these big jeans that are like flaring out and this like strange shirt. And like I've seen this image of her all over Twitter of her just sort of standing there. I think she's getting memed at the moment, right? Like I think she's being used in all these different things.
Yeah, because she looks so awkward. My favorite one was where they put her side by side with Monica's mother from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City when she was like, well, have fun walking home, mother. She's like, you're going to make me walk home? She's like, yes. And she just like leaves her standing there all pathetic. That's been my favorite MJ meme.
So I'm just like, so give you privacy because, and Brie goes, you're gonna love our plan, and Kevin's like, yeah, you're gonna love this because
Shh, don't say it in front of MJ. Don't say it in front of MJ. This is only a faithful meeting, not an MJ meeting. Peter, you fucking idiot.
She's like, but I don't want to be left out of something. Peter's like, no, you won't. I promise you. So
you're leaving her out right now, right this very second. So she just kind of backs out all sad. So then she runs down the hallway to report back. She goes, they said to leave, guys. And they're like, Peter? She goes, yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
So now this makes, I have to say, I thought that Parvati's maneuvering last episode against Peter and his group, I was like, oh, this is never going to stick. But actually, she planted some seeds that really have stuck. So Sandra now is like, I think Peter is the traitor. He causes so much chaos, so much drama, and he does more harm than good. And he has an alliance of 4 people and a beret. So it's a numbers game.
Yes, which of course, anybody who's anti-Peter was cheering at this, right? So she's like, okay, guys, come over here. I'm going to explain something to you at this. This is a pool table. They use balls. Do you all know what balls are? They're the opposite of squares. And people are like, okay, okay. Like
but there's no swimming pool here. It's just a table.
No, you don't swim in this. This is a game you roll balls around on top of it. It's a table.
the balls float in water? Are these like beach balls?
It's not that kind of pool. Okay. Just forget it. Let's just pretend these are, for example's sake, let's call them balls.
Okay, but they're really boxes.
All right, come over here. Just try and pay attention, okay?
Okay.
So CT goes, I really like where this is going. Oh, by the way, I'm stupid because I listened to a commenter who told me incorrectly. Commenter, how dare you come into my home and tell me incorrect things that then I wander all over the world spreading these things. And this thing that you told me that was incorrect was that CT is in fact not a Bostonian. So I looked it up and it said that he was from Brooklyn, but it turns out he was born in Brooklyn but grew up in Boston. So Ben, go back.
We're all right.
You were correct. I corrected you in the beginning and I was off course. So I apologize, everybody.
I mean, I always thought he was from Bostonian, but like it's not your fault because it says that he's from Brooklyn, but he has a thick Boston accent. He's very Boston-y, although I think he's maybe not even from Boston, but maybe in the Boston region. Either way, there was a lot of misinformation out there. And honestly, I'm surprised that CT is not a traitor at this point, given how slippery his geographical location is.
No kidding. So CT's like, oh my God, pool balls? I love where this is going. So Sandra lays out her strategy with the balls. She's like, okay, this ball is going to be John. And this ball is going to be Kevin. And this is I'm sorry, there's a lot of people. Are we balls now? Why do we all look so similar? Can we just wear different T-shirts?
All right, we're going to have to start this from the top because CT just hit the balls with his cue. Okay, we're not actually playing pool.
Listen, you put a sport in front of me, I'm going to play it.
Yeah, but we're not playing billiards or pool right now. I'm trying to do a demonstration with the pool balls.
I'm a player. What can I say? So, you know what? You don't want me to play? Don't give me a game. I mean, what the hell?
Okay, well, how about this? Okay, I'm going to take the balls off the pool table so they're no longer a game. They're just balls in an isolated space. Oh, now you're just kicking them. They're not soccer balls. You don't have to kick them into the fireplace.
Oh, yeah? Then how come I just got a point? So,
you didn't actually get no, you didn't get, holding the pillow does not mean you got a point. Could you put that back against the door, please?
All right, just listen, okay? So this is us, right? So here's my theory. So if the Traitors is here, then we're screwed, right? Because listen, there's this many of them. This is more balls than over here. There's this many balls. See, all balls. Do you understand? Do you understand? These are called numbers. Okay, it's like, oh my God, watching people try and understand numbers for the first time in their lives is one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my life.
Kate's like, this theory doesn't hold water, but it's hilarious. So I'm just going to say, and go along with it just because I don't really give a fuck. And Sandra's like, okay.
I was laughing so hard. She literally put like, let's say 5 balls over here and then 3 balls over on the other side. She's like, see, with these balls, there's more balls here. And they're like,
But this, by the way, this theory was tenuous at best, but she spoke with such conviction that everyone's like, has to be. And of course, Parvati and Phaedra are not going to challenge it. They're like, yes, wow, you're speaking the truth, Sandra.
Well, I think what she was saying was very simple. She was saying, listen, we have more people than they have. They think they're in control, but we're actually in control. We have more people than them. So we can do whatever we want. Like they're keeping us out of their room or whatever, but we can vote them out. And people, they're like, no, we can't. They're faithful. She's like, this is what numbers mean. This is a majority. And they're like, huh? Dead.
This is why my knowledge of Survivor helps me, because I'm able to show everyone how the numbers look, and they look like pool balls, you know? And that's how I figured it out. And I'm hoping they're able to see exactly what I show them, because the leftovers have to prevail. And that's us. We're the leftovers because we're not part of the most faithful of the faithful. Also, we're the leftovers because I'm pretty sure that CT has a pancake in his pocket from this morning.
So they're basically like, what? I don't get it. It's like, the more balls win. So we're the more balls. So let's kill this other ball. This ball's name is Peter. It's like, yeah, let's kill Peter. It's like, okay, that's all I needed to say in the end. And Kate's like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever experienced.
And Parvati is like, oh, and by the way, don't forget, Peter came for me at breakfast and said that suddenly I'm not a traitor now. Can you believe he says I'm not a traitor?
What are you doing? What?
Well, she was like, see, he's changing his story. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it wild? He should think I'm a traitor. It's wild.
What is she doing? Okay, so just remind everybody once again that you're suspected, right? So she goes, okay, but the only way this works is if everybody votes against Peter. And Phaedra's like, okay, you voting for Peter. You voting for Peter. I shouldn't have to tell you who you all should be able to answer this by now. Who are you voting for? Kate Jackson. No.
Kate Jackson.
Peter. You are voting for Peter.
I'm going to vote for this pancake in my pocket. No, that's not an eligible vote. If you want to throw it at Peter.
No. It's not a vote in the 80s for a president. You fucking morons.
So now John and Peter are they're at the bar together. And John's like, do you think that Parvati is feeling a bit vulnerable? And he's like, yeah, for sure. Like, it's like, Peter, could you stop trembling for one moment and not looking as guilty? So Parvati is very happy. She's like, Peter thinks that he is on his high horse and he thinks he's running this show. And I cannot wait to watch that smug, headbandless smile fall off his lips when he gets banished. I am going to be dancing all the way to the turret. Which, when she said that, I was like, something's going to go wrong. You only say that.
This is too easy. This is too easy. And it's also too early in the episode to know exactly what's going to go down, right?
Yeah.
So now it's time for my favorite part, the challenge, which I never understand. So now they go out to the forest and they basically have to get in teams of 2 and start running all over the place and finding shit, which, of course, I immediately tune out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My brain just doesn't work like that. I see all this running around and I just get very tired. I'm an empath when it comes to physical things. Like emotionally, I don't care. But physically, if I see somebody else running, I get very tired or my knees hurt. Or if I see somebody lifting something heavy, I'm like, oh, my back. And then I sit down for a while. This is that's why I don't watch a Super Bowl, really, at the end of the day. I get brain damage by proxy. And when I watch this game, I just get very tired. I get on my phone.
Yeah. This one, the gist of this challenge, we don't have to get too much into it, but basically they have to pair up, and Phaedra and CT pair up, which, you know, the internet loves because they're like, we ship them. And they have to go through the forest, and there's a question. They're going to keep on, running into like these junctures where there's questions, and you can either go to the left or to the right. And if you get it wrong, you're going to get trapped. And then if both of you get it wrong over the course of the competition, then you're both out, and the money that you've collected will not be going towards the prize pot. The thing that was notable for this about me was that the first trap is like you go to get the clue, and then you wind up falling into like a mucky puddle of muck. But then all the subsequent traps were like if you pick up the clue and it's wrong, an enormous net emerges from the ground and captures you with like a whole bunch of leaves and hangs you up into the trees. I was like, that's terrifying.
That shit was so funny. Also, it goes to show you what dicks people are in these situations, just socially. They're like, okay, so it's a physical thing. So if some things are worth more than other things, let's make all the losers go for the lower thing. So, John, you're a loser. You go for the $1,000 bet. I mean, what the hell? That was like a game of kickball team choosing or whatever.
But the best was, both. So Sheree and Berkey were paired up, and so they get the first question wrong, but it's Berkey who goes to pick up the wrong clue, so he winds up falling into the muck. And Sheree sees it and goes, "Oh hell no!" she's like, I can't believe this would happen when we're going to Yogurt Land. It's like, you're not going to Yogurt Land.
Oh, okay. So, let's see. The race. They're racing around looking for stuff. Peter and Trishelle, who were like, we're going for the biggest thing because we're like the strongest. And Peter's the first out, which I liked.
I know. I love that.
And then, Bergie and Sheree, you said. So then Phaedra and the CT get one wrong, and she's like, you go get that clue. And he's like, okay. So he goes to get it and gets caught up in the tree net thing. And she's like, oh, sorry. Bye. And she just walks away like extremely slowly. She's like, okay, bye. Don't rush or anything, Phaedra, okay? It's just a game.
By the way, Peter losing first, that should have been material that Phaedra could have, Parvati could have used to say, look, he allegedly went out first by accident, but I think he's a traitor. He did it on purpose. Even though a traitor has no motivation to sabotage the challenge, which is stupid. That's the stupidest part about the show. And I like the idea that like if the challenge doesn't succeed, that the shields are nullified. But either way, there's a bunch of dum-dums, and Parvati could have totally used that against Peter, and she didn't.
Yeah. So then they're now down 3 teams, okay? And Sheree has been caught in the tree net thing. So there's not much money left, basically. And so Phaedra's wandering around terrified of the woods. And then Kate, of course, is jealous of the people in the nets. She's like, it's basically like a hammock.
It's basically like the reality show I want to be in, which is just sit and be relaxed and not around people. Be great.
Okay, so then Trishelle and Trishelle's looking around and just trying to figure out these clues. And one of the clues, I thought this was tricky because there's a Latin phrase that was written in the kitchen: keep your friends close or keep your enemies close. Which is the right answer? Well, sounds like it would be keep your enemies close, right? Duh, because keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. But if there's only one...
I wasn't sure if the game was... I actually also thought it was going to be keep your enemies close, because I thought they were being tricky, because the phrase is keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So I thought the game was saying like, I thought it was going to be like keep your enemies close and your friends far. I don't know. I thought it was just being clever, but it actually was not being clever.
Your friends, you murder!
So either way, like ultimately the 2 teams that win, that get all the way to the end, are John and Parvati, and then Kevin and Sandra. And they get it correct, and John's like, Parvati, you're the triumphant warrior, the ultimate survivor, the lady of the headband, and now you shall be the lady of the land. I now present to you the Duchess of Scotland, Parvati Shallow.
Okay, so Kevin and Sandra end up winning this one, and
They're faster.
Yes,
they're the
they were
fastest.
faster
They
ones.
both get shields.
And it was very tricky because they made it look like they got there after. Tricky editing, I'm telling you. Every time. I fall for it every time. Okay, so Parvati's like, well, we didn't get the shield, but thankfully Peter didn't get it either. I can't wait to murder him.
Which will definitely be happening tonight when he gets murdered, because he will definitely not be safe. There's nothing that will happen if he doesn't get voted out at the round table, which will definitely be happening too.
Yeah. So then back at the castle, CT puts on an actual shield and helmet. He's like, look, I found a shield.
Kevin's like, yo, where'd you find that? Does that count? Is that for real? It's like, yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm willing to give anything a try at this point, huh? So Phaedra and Kate and Parvati meet up, and they're like, we're going to banish Peter. Like that is the plan. They're gonna banish Peter. But then CT starts talking with Peter. And CT's like, yeah, all the girls in there, the Queen's Council right now. Queens plural S. Multiple queens. It's not just one queen.
They don't need to be checking in with each other. Everybody's so obvious. You guys need some subtlety here, okay? You can't just be like, okay, we're back at the castle. Let's all meet up together and talk about who we're going to banish again. Come on.
But it wasn't even like, but to be fair, it wasn't like that crazy. Just three of them were in the hallway. It wasn't like they were hidden. They were just in plain sight. But because CT is the only guy on that side, I think he is like suspicious. So basically, Peter is starting to woo CT over, because they're like, oh, women getting together. So they go into this like little room.
Next thing you know, they're going to own businesses.
I know.
God,
that's why Parvati
driving.
That's why Parvati. It's totally within her right to say just because I'm a woman, because ultimately people like CT will be suspicious. So CT and Peter are talking, and Peter's like, "Hey, CT, my man, do you trust me? What was that all about? You trust me, right? I mean, you're wearing a shield, so like bros before hoes, am I right?" High five.
And CT's like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you, you're on the block, okay? And he's like, what? I'm going to be on the block for banishment? What? Well, that's the first I heard of that. Yeah, because you only hang around ass lickers, dude, okay? You need to branch out a little bit. So he's like, nah, I mean, I'm not going to go into details about it, but, that's what I'm hearing. And so Peter's like, oh, no. Now it's the first time I'm getting banishment heat. Oh, no, I better get some, I've got some paranoia going on. I better get to the bottom of this.
So then Peter he leaves CT and he goes over to Phaedra, Kate, and Parvati. And he's like, so I hear there's a Queen's Council that I should be getting in on. And Phaedra's like, no, we're just talking. So Peter's like, can we talk right now? So essentially he pulls Phaedra and Parvati into the armory, which is the small room. And they're sitting there. And they're both like very suspicious of like, what is Peter trying to do? And Peter's like, so do you two have a consensus at all? Are you guys gonna separate? I mean, Parvati, is there something convincing that you have? Like, you're gonna vote me? What's happening? Can I have a headband? I don't know. I just feel like unsafe right now.
And she's like, yeah, I'm going to save that for the round table, you fucking weirdo.
Which there definitely will be.
Me, that you've got everybody against me, like to target me. Why am I going to give you information in this weird little room? No. So she's basically no. And then Phaedra's like, I don't like this. This is and Phaedra starts getting really like, get me out of here. We can't be talking game. Why are we talking game? Like she starts freaking out. And she's like, I don't like this. And he goes, well, guys, we could work together. Oh, okay. Peter, really? You're going to come to Parvati and Phaedra, who you guys are all gunning for? You think they don't know? Like, come on. Yeah,
so Phaedra snips this out, and she's like, no, I don't like this. Because she says, like, Peter likes to leave traps, and I don't want to be around one of his traps, so I'm not going to go. And Parvati is like, she's like, this is strange. Like, I don't know. If you think I'm a traitor, why would you want to work with me? How about this? I'm going to squint at you and you're going to perish under the power of my eyes.
So that was kind of a big fail. But also Parvati and Phaedra do act incredibly guilty, but Peter also has no chill, and frankly, he's acting really guilty too. They just happen to know that he's not, right?
Now, I would like to say at this point of the show, I'm so excited because I feel like this moment and some of the other things are going to be used against Peter. I'm anticipating at the round table, Parvati's going to use this little thing against Peter. Parvati's going to use the fact that Peter changed his decision against him. I think that she might even use the fact that he was first out of the challenge against him. I sort of am really excited for the case that I believe that Parvati is going to mount. And I'm like, this is going to be great. Peter is definitely going to go home tonight.
Okay, so now everybody is gathering.
Because Alan has arrived.
Alan has come. Please don your coats and your boots. Is this where he was dressing like a fish that got caught in the deep sea? Who's wearing that at some point?
Yes. Yeah, so he basically arrives, and you're thinking, oh, good, this is time for the round table. He's like, players, please don your coats and your boots, and meet me in the woods in 10 minutes. We're going on an outing. A deadly outing. I'll see you down by the river shortly. Where you'll die. Next to a river. Don't be scared, even though you're about to die, because it's deadly. Murder.
Now, what was that? Is somebody
Murder.
here?
Oh my God, could you imagine?
Murder. Is somebody here cleaning my house? Now I heard something like water being...
Do you want to go check while I say murder 5 times? Murder.
No, I mean...
Murder.
I don't know. If I get murdered, that would
If you
be
get
fun.
murdered while we're talking about... If you get murdered right now, Ronnie, promise me one thing. Just as you get murdered, say... Oh no, I've been murdered. I know it's like not a funny time because you'd be getting murdered, but please do it in a Scottish accent.
Someone please find who's murdered me. Okay, so he comes over. Okay, so they're going to go do this thing. And he's basically like, tonight, a surprise brought to you by producer Alison Grodner of Big Brother. So basically, they head to a torch ceremony in the woods. And he announces that there will not be a round table tonight. Instead, we are going to cheat to keep Peter, the bachelor, in. Not because he's terrifying or really that popular, but because his mother is baking us wonderful cookies and we'd like to keep her around the castle. Thank you, Alan. I love you, Alan. Peter, call your mother.
You will have the power to change the course of this entire game. This evening, the cheaters will murder once more, and you now have the power to decide who will be spared that fatal blow.
And who will be murdered? Okay, so now they have one person has to pick somebody, and then that person's going to be safe, and then the person who is picked gets to pick somebody, and it becomes another team picking exercise.
And Parvati doesn't like this because she doesn't have control. So since Kevin and Sandra both won shields in the mission, the power to protect lies in your hands, Kevin and Sandra. Well, it will lie in Sandra's hands as soon as she puts down those pool balls. Okay, put them down. And then I give you the power in your hands. Put down the pool balls. Right now. Yes, on the ground.
The power, it's not the pool balls. Put them down. But they represent so much. Put them down.
We're trying to put power in your hands.
Let me tell you what real power is. Knowledge. No, Sandra, not here. This is a reality show.
Just put down the balls. We're trying to put the power in your hands. Put down the balls.
Don't make me murder you with the balls, Sandra.
Don't throw the balls at me for crying out loud. I'm just the host.
I will not stop counting balls. No one can stop me.
All right, as I was saying, your torches burn bright. Oh my God, I almost fell over. I tripped on one of those balls. Don't put them right in my path.
I didn't tell you to put them right under my feet, Sandra. They'll fucking learn. Okay, so Kevin and Sandra both won the mission, so they get to go. And then Trishelle, out of nowhere, no one suspects Trishelle of anything except being a living doll and terrible berets. Nobody suspects Trish. No one has said her name, but Trishelle's like, "Oh my God, please pick me, please! I've just been so stressed the whole game. Please pick me, guys, me."
Please pick me. Peppermint's coming after me. Save me. Save me. Peppermint's not in the game anymore. You led a witch hunt against her. No, but you don't understand how powerful she is. Save me, my berets. I have so many more berets to wear.
You guys, I don't know much, but I do know that somewhere Peppermint is raising her voice at me.
Peppermint is making a face like, and it's just like so not cool. Made me feel really uncomfortable.
Okay, so they get to pick first, and Trichelle's begging, and Peter's like, to my core, I'm a faithful to the end, so it's going to stay that way. So I think we could win together. We could work together to win this, guys. And he's like, I'm terrified. But now, Kevin and Sandra, please come in front of the fire pit to privately discuss who you'd like to save.
So MJ says, I just can't imagine who they're going to agree on. It can only be one person. And I feel like I'm really close with Sandra. I was like, have we seen that? Have we seen that they're like really close all this season? I feel like I've never seen that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And MJ really needs this because she doesn't know this, but she just went viral from like being left to stand there alone as she was denied entry into the cool kids group. So Sandra's like, this is going to be huge. We need to keep our numbers strong, which I'll represent with these balls. Sandra, put down the balls.
Okay, so remind me, the person that we want to keep safe, we throw the ball at their head. No, that might actually murder them. We want fake murder.
All right, light a torch of the player you don't want to protect. So Sandra, so they do. And who picks Kevin? Does Sandra pick Kevin?
No, Sandra and Kevin are together because they both won shields.
Oh, I thought John won for some. Why did I
No.
Okay,
they made it look like that. So
I just read the name Kevin, and I'm still saying John. Like I'm literally a crazy person who can't understand the truth when it's right in front of him. Do not call me to testify at a trial.
Meow down. So MJ is like, I feel like if it's Sandra's call, she's gonna choose me, but Sandra picks Sheree. Which I think is a smart choice because Sheree is the one who seems the most clueless. So give her the fire and see what happens, right? So MJ is really upset. She's like, I'm like really, really disappointed. It's like really awkward and uncomfortable and painful.
Hey, that's so funny. I think you're quoting some of the first reviews of Shots of Sunset.
I thought that wasn't. I feel like that's what every diner said, sitting around Reza and Adam's first date.
Yeah, so she's upset. I think that this was a good move because Sandra is picking one of the most non-offensive people, also one of the easiest. And I think even though Sheree is considered part of that Bravo group, I think she's considered less of a threat than if she would have picked MJ. Because MJ is,
right.
Well,
and Kevin would never
going
choose
the easiest road.
No, Sandra's doing the right thing. She's lighting the torch of someone on her side that Kevin would be up for also. Because Kevin, I don't think Kevin likes MJ. Remember he said that MJ was annoying? So Kevin wants to probably light someone on his side. But Sheree is sort of like inoffensive. So Alan's like, Sheree, the power to protect now lies in your hands. You must now light the touch of the player you want to protect from tonight's murder. And where did you get that pamphlet? Is this the DMV? Gonna renew my license?
No,
not
you
for the
dum-dum.
Yeah, the murder.
Twist, I'm the murderer. They're driving me to it. So then Sheree has to pick, and she picks Phaedra, and Phaedra starts crying. And she's like, I picked Phaedra because I don't feel like people should be targeting people just because of the show that we're on. That's unfair to the Real Housewives. And Phaedra's like, that was beautiful. This was beautiful. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
And but then Phaedra does have in like a moment, I'm skipping ahead like 30 seconds, but Phaedra does explain that she's known Sheree for over 20 years and they have history and that none of the people understand their history. So her emotion really is about life and coming full circle in this moment. So I was surprised because I thought it was just fake, but it seems like Phaedra really was emotional.
It's also, speaking when she said, I don't think we should be kicked off because of what show we're on, that is kind of a sisterhood that Phaedra fucked up, granted, on her own without anybody else's help. But it's probably maybe like being accepted by someone from that same sisterhood after feeling like condemned by them or whatever.
I was wondering that too. Yeah, because again, I don't feel like I've seen a whole lot of Phaedra and Sheree conversations. I have not felt like, oh, they're such a duo in this game, which is surprising because they truly know each other. And I have just not seen that connection on screen. But we got like a little bit of it when Phaedra protected Sheree from the goblet, and now Sheree's protecting Phaedra. So they're kind of like building that in a little bit.
Okay, so then Phaedra gets to pick, and Trichelle's like, "Save me, save me! You know I'm struggled. Please."
What struggled? What has Trishelle struggled with? She's in like the power posse. She's in Peter Pals. She's like, oh my God, you have to save me. Save me right
She
now.
is so fucking annoying. I wish I could just vote right now and just get rid of Trishelle just because of this pitiful display. Like,
I won't hold it
dude,
against you.
What are you sitting here crying and begging for being? Everyone is in the same spot as you. People like this make me just fucking crazy. Like, I deserve
She's so
more.
entitled.
Here's why I deserve it. Here's why you've done nothing to deserve. No one has done anything. This is a stupid game of chance. It's basically a carnival game. Okay, be quiet.
No, but you don't understand. Fashionistas have a 1 in 3 chance of getting murdered in reality shows. It's not fair, and we have to work against these odds. Don't, Bueller, please stop. I'm about to be murdered, Bueller. Come on, Bueller, don't do this to me, Bueller. Please, someone save me. Someone save me from Bueller. I'm just an innocent fashionista.
Don't make me watch Bueller lick his wiener anymore. I can't take it.
Bueller's like really aggressive. Really, really aggressive. I just felt really uncomfortable around Bueller.
Bueller has to leave. He was licking his wiener around me.
All right. Phaedra, pick someone to save America. So Phaedra picks CT, her showmance. We like to think of showmance. And so Parvati goes, that's strange. I thought for sure Phaedra would be lighting up my torch. So that's a surprise, and I'm questioning her now. Why would she light up your torch, Parvati?
Not only are you both traitors, and she would look totally guilty because she knows that everybody's against you, but you've come for her. Like,
you've come for her, and everyone thinks you're a traitor. Why would she do anything that would put more heat on her after what Dan did?
Yeah, dodo bird. So, CT's like, well, listen, I like that she lit my torch. What am I going to say? No? I mean, it's nice and toasty over here, but now I got to pick. So, geez, I'm torn. I'm torn here between Trishelle and Sean. Please, pick me. You're going to pick me, right?
Please, CT. Please. Oh, please, CT. You got to believe me, CT. Oh, I'm innocent, CT.
So I love that he's like, okay. She's like, CT and I have 2 decades of knowing each other. So there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to save me. He's like, I don't know. I kind of trust her, but God, I hate those berets. So fucking stupid. She came dressed in ribbons the other day, like literal black ribbons on a tree. Is that really what you want on your side? Really?
He's like, yeah. So I'm deciding between Trishelle and John, and I do protect him. I want to trust Trishelle, but John is really fun when he speaks all British like that at the round table. So,
you got that one who's kind of annoying, and then you got the funny-looking guy who also talks funny. There's 2 funnies.
Have you seen that guy run? It's hilarious. All right, friendship a game. Oh, in my heart of hearts, I want to go with John, so I'm going to go with John. John, you're wicked saved.
Now, I was thinking about this later. And I didn't really understand why he did this. It didn't really make sense to me, except that 2 things. One, Trishelle's annoying as hell, and I think he's like, I do not want to be partnered up with Trishelle, even though I kind of am by default. And also, he knew that John is going to go pick the most faithful, and the most faithful is Peter, and it put CT in a place where he doesn't look like he's kissing that group's ass, so he can still kind of stay on the side of the ladies.
Yeah, but I think it's significant that he did not keep it on the side of the ladies. Because, I guess who was left? MJ. It shows that he does not trust MJ, does not trust Parvati, which is notable for that group. So then Trishelle, luckily Trishelle is, pretty chill about it. She doesn't, she's not She understands, she has perspective, and she says, I literally feel like Alan shot me in the chest with a bullet. Time of death, 3:00 fashionista o'clock in the morning.
She's like, I cannot believe this is happening. I don't know whether to scream or to cry, to set CT on fire, or redistrict a voting neighborhood. But I'm going to definitely take action.
I love Trishelle, okay, conning the cast. No, I don't love. I love Trishelle conning the cast, saying that Peppermint was being so extra, and here she is saying, "I feel like I was shot in the chest with a bullet, and I don't know whether to scream or cry or just set CT on fire." But Peppermint's the one who's extra.
Yeah. So CT is like, Jesus Christ, it's not a death sentence. She's like, oh really? Then why am I bleeding from my chest?
It's like he took a bazooka and he put a billiard ball in it and shot it right into my chest cavity.
Damn it, we just lost a number of the balls. Sandra, let it go, Sandra.
Okay, everyone, Trishelle is the new Pocket. It's like, no. So CT's like, yeah, it's not a death sentence. And Trishelle says, I'm just completely devastated. If you're going to burn me like this, then at least respect me enough to look my beret in the eyes.
Oh, okay. So then Alan's like, only one more person can be protected from murder. Okay, who's it going to be? So now, of course, John picks fucking Trishelle. John, obviously I'm begging for my life, John. John, I've been with you since day one, John. You know I'm faithful. I would continue. I would always be faithful to you, John. Oh, John, please, John.
I never said I was the best mother in the world, but give me some credit for trying. Come on, John, come on.
The best way that I knew how. John's like, wait a minute. I know that speech.
That was from Dish of Soap, is it not?
They're starting to call this show The Sun Also Sucks.
Oh my God. They murdered me on the machine, Rose, on the machine. They just have an answering machine sitting on the chair when Trishelle gets murdered.
Tawny, you've made me look like Tweety fucking Bird. Whatever.
Tawny, you're murdered. Oh God, just kidding.
Okay, so thank you, Soap Dish, for all the joy you've given us over this past 5 decades, or whenever you came out. Okay, so then Trishelle's begging, and Peter gives a monologue about how he has developed so much trust with everybody, and Parvati's like, please don't pick Peter, please. And of course, John's like, well, I pick Peter. Peter, you are one of the most faithful chaps I've ever had the pleasure of coming around.
The argument about your faithfulness was successfully litigated here at the fire pit, and therefore I, John, former Parliament person, have announced that you, sir, shall receive the privilege of the flame.
So Peter's like, last minute save from John. And so Parvati's like, I was devastated, rocked to the core of my headband.
Why did you choose Peter? And John says, Peter is mighty clever, and I think he's forensically focused on finding the remaining traitors, and I shall pause 5 minutes for you to explain the word forensically to the rest of this cast.
So Sandra's like, I was looking at what kind of energy pool ball Peter was putting out through this whole ceremony, and I'm starting to think that he's probably a faithful after all. It's like, come on. They really just ruined my game, okay?
I know.
You ruined my game.
Fucking Sandra being perceptive. That's not right. So,
well, I mean, the producers even giving her that opportunity.
Did.
This was not fair. This is not cool.
Right.
So, Alan's like, Peter becomes the first player, the last player that is spared from tonight's murder. And those protected can head back to Alison Grodner's bed, where they will be given the opportunity to make lunch of her vagina. Thank you.
Whoa.
Enjoy.
I like that. So Parvati was like, that was very enlightening. And Trishelle's like, he's the only person that I didn't expect that from. So Alan is, send them back to the castle. And now they're back in the they're back. And MJ is telling, the people who are safe go first. And then basically Alan holds the people who are not safe back for like 30 seconds just to rub it in that they're not safe.
I want you to be in the loser circle for as long as you can stand the almost murderedness of it all.
Just remember, those who did not get flamed tonight are lesser people, not just in this game, but in life. Good night.
It doesn't only mean, I just want everyone here to know, just because you've almost been murdered doesn't mean that the cast doesn't like you. It also means God doesn't like you.
It turns out we actually held a survey before this ceremony, and you are also the least liked people on this cast, not just by your castmates, but by production. Good night.
And America.
And America.
And Europe.
And Scotland.
Africa as well.
The Atlantic Ocean. All the fish, they hate you.
Surveys spread, is what I'm saying.
We asked 100 people who are the worst 5 people in all of the world. And there was, for the first time in Family Feud history, only one answer. And the answer was, all of yous.
You've actually beat preservatives. Which is hardly even a person, so congrats.
We just found a fossil. And it said, hi, I'm a dinosaur. And the reason why we all died was because in the future there'll be 5 terrible people and we heard about them. And we all decided we don't need to be here anymore. So thanks a lot to you 5. You killed the dinosaurs.
They hate you the most. So now, by the way, these people who have been left behind are Bergie, Trishelle, Parvati, Kate, and MJ. And I think Kate's the only one who doesn't complain. Everyone else is like, fuck these people. I hope all these people die in their sleep. And Kate's like, I'm still getting paid for this, right?
I mean, if I get murdered, I just can go back to Florida. It's fine. So MJ is like, guys, don't suppress your emotions. Tell them how you feel, which I love. That's so MJ, just egging everyone on to make a big scene, which actually would probably save her a little bit more, right?
Yeah. So Trishelle's like, I felt like shit. So now Bergie and Trishelle walk in, and CT like stops, and he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Okay. So we can move on, right? And Trishelle's like, hi, friends, except for you, CT. You monster.
We need wine. Fashionistas need wine. And CT's like, so you hate me? She goes, I don't think you care either way. It doesn't feel good. # getting some wine.
So then she leaves the room all dejected. And John's like, well, I guess that means you're put on the spot, eh? And he's like, yeah, I guess she's disappointed. And she's like, I am so disappointed. CT and I thought we were turning over a new leaf. I really thought he was like my brother. Doesn't a new leaf mean you haven't liked each other and now you do like each other? I think if you haven't been close for 20 years, that ship has sailed. You know what I mean? Like, I've known a lot of people for 20 years now. I ain't going to save them.
Maybe she meant, I feel like we were turning over a new leaf because he still had leaves attached to his shirt from the challenge. So she's like, it just sucks because, like, obviously, I think we're, like, closer. I think we're closer than we really are, apparently. So CT is just like, okay, whatever. So Parvati enters. She goes, well, I guess you guys are feeling good, nice and safe. I'm like, okay, Parvati, you need to just like chill out.
Hope you guys are having fun being safe. You're not going to be safe for long if that prince doesn't fall in love with you and I get your voice forever. Idiots.
So now MJ enters next, and she's like, guys, I do want some red wine because I'm very angry. Look, I don't find fault in anyone's choices, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, you know? And Paige was like, are you okay? She goes, why would I be okay? Having to stand there and watch one person after another that I built a relationship with just go, oh, you don't get to go. And then 5 other people also don't get to go. Why would I feel good? I'm just very, very disappointed. I thought I was done with Shahs of Sunset, and now it pulled me right back into the emotional state of that show.
Yeah. You know what else isn't going to win any popularity contests, guys? Guilt tripping everybody who didn't pick
Never
you.
works.
It just doesn't work. So MJ's like, I was nobody's first choice. And that is a tough pill to swallow.
But at the same time, the guilt trip shows that she's like in her feelings, and that might like actually suggest that she is a good person, or not a good person, just a faithful, you know, like, because like a traitor would maybe not be in their feelings because they don't really care because they're not going to get murdered either way.
Murdered.
Murder.
So she talks to Trishelle, and you know she's very disappointed, etc. And Phaedra's like, "Well, you need to say I want to have a chat." So Trishelle's like, "Oh my God, I'm not the one who hurt him. Why should I have to pull him aside?" So CT comes in. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Uh-oh, ladies gathered. Uh-oh.
Queen's Council
Trouble,
Part
big
2.
trouble.
Oh my God, are you guys gonna start playing chess like the Queen's Gambit, huh? So MJ is like, you should get in here, CT. She wanted you to come up to her and talk to her. So you guys get into a fight. So that way one of you guys gets voted. That way Trishelle gets voted off. So Trishelle is like, I'm not going to force you to talk if you don't want to talk to me. And he's like, no, of course I want to talk to you. She's like, well, then why didn't you come grab me? Why did someone have to tell you to come talk to me?
She's like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just hurt, okay? Now, he doesn't have an explanation, which I thought was super weird. He keeps saying, like, game, you know, like game's more important than friendship, but he doesn't explain why. Or maybe they just cut it. Who knows? But
maybe he should have said something like, you know, you keep on having all these conversations. You have your own group. You don't include me. So why should I save you if you're not including me in whatever your group is doing?
Right. Yeah. But he doesn't, which is super weird, which leads me to believe he just doesn't like her. I think he's just like,
he doesn't like her.
Please I just don't like you, and I don't know how else to say it except to like not save you. And hopefully you're going to get voted out because you literally whined like a baby for the entire 10 hours it took to shoot that circle of fire or whatever.
Yeah. And Trishelle's like, I mean, if someone had lit my fire, I was going to give it to you. And I just feel like I thought we were turning over a new leaf, and it just like upset me. Like, why am I not valued enough to keep me? Is it because you think John's smarter? And he's like, yeah, he worked. Let's see, Trishelle. John was a member of parliament, and you were on the Real World Las Vegas. So maybe he does think that John's smarter. I don't know.
You've like smoked a parliament. You know what I mean? Like, you're Trishelle. No one. No. By the way, do you hear this? Oh, never mind. It's not.
I heard a noise just before.
Did you hear that creak?
Was that?
Do you know what that is? Sorry, everybody.
Mad
This is personal, but it's a piano. When you're playing piano, you know how you have the pedal.
Yeah.
That's what you press down. Isn't that nice that it squeaks like that? Who makes a pedal that squeaks like a freaking creaking door? Like, thanks, guys. It's very peaceful piano playing been going on over here. Fucking morons.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That's what they should have put in front of that door, not a fucking pillow. Get my piano pedal.
So Trishelle's like, I never questioned if you valued me. I thought you did. And he's like, no, I do value you. Just, you know, not a lot. And she's like, it didn't seem that way tonight. Okay, well, I should just go upstairs and go to sleep. And, you know, if you never see me again, just know that this fashionista died an innocent woman.
I love that all she was trying to do was doing like the most Trishelle way of getting an apology and just having someone validate her and being like, but I do like you, and it was nothing personal. But he refuses. He's just like, He's like, but I thought we were friends. But I mean, I thought I meant something to you.
So Kate's like, well, going to bed tonight after the human sacrifice ceremony, I felt like, I don't know, this is possibly my last night in the castle, which is good because it's stupid in here. I want to go home.
Yeah. One thing they don't tell you is you're really winning in Florida because we have central air there. Like, castles are gross. So.
Trishelle's like, I'm 100% sure that I'm going to be murdered. And I think that I'm probably the most expendable to at least my friends, if I can even call them friends in this game.
Oh,
which means, by the way,
she's not going to put a pillow over your face myself if I was there. Shut up already. So now it's the turret time. So Phaedra and Parvati go to the turret. And, you know, it's going to be tough tonight because there's not as many people to kill. And Parvati's like, I can't kill Peter. My name's on the chopping block, so I'm just very backed into a corner.
So Parvati's like, girl, what a twist. And Phaedra's like, what a twist. I was worried about you because let's not forget, no one likes you. So worried about you. But you can't stop acting like, by the way, you have to stop acting like an ice princess. You have to stop doing that. And she's like, Ice princess.
She
So I
just
need to
gives
be
her that
nice?
squint. She's like, really? So what are you saying? I need to be nicer? She goes, yeah. I mean, you're giving off mean girl a little bit because you're just like, I mean, that's your face that you're making. Basically, you're walking around. You're like a very thick roll of toilet paper over a skeleton head that just makes this face.
You're like a Pez dispenser that's not working.
Have you ever seen that movie about those furry little things that turn into monsters if they get water thrown on them? Gremlins? Yeah. But like a mean one with a shaved face.
A Kremlin with a headband.
The Kremlin? You mean
That
like
too,
Russia?
Actually, yes,
Okay.
that too.
Just say, you know that movie where there's that guy that kills teenagers while they're sleeping in their dreams? Freddy Krueger? Yeah, you're like that.
No, you ever go to a supermarket and you see a pile of tangerines and you say, oh, wow, tangerines are back in season. You go to reach for one and one falls on the floor and it's all flat and dented. And you look at it and you go, ooh, I don't want to go near that tangerine. That's you.
Have you ever been on an airplane and there's a baby with a cough? It's like, oh my God. Yeah, that's what you're like.
You ever see a movie with Diane Kruger? I thought we were talking about Freddy Krueger. No, hold on. Diane Kruger this time. And you say, why did I pay money for this movie? I don't care whatever happened to the Declaration of Independence and if it has a secret message in it. Now you're talking about National Treasure? Yes, you're like a very bad sequel to National Treasure, starring Diane Kruger.
Oh, yeah, you're giving off mean girls, you know? And she goes, well, every time I walk into a room, people do stop talking. And she's like, well, I think it's just because you're going to have to be more lovable. Does that make sense? She goes, okay. Yeah, and by that I mean soften your heart, okay? Be less terrible. Does that make any sense?
Try to remember you're on television and that there's an audience that's watching you. And some people may actually want to like you.
So Parvati's like, well, the atmosphere in the turret is certainly intensified. I think Phaedra would throw me under the bus if he keeps Phaedra safe, so I better keep my eye on her. First of all, you've already thrown her under the bus, so you're lucky that she hasn't already turned your ass in. And second of all, everyone else is after you, so this is kind of your only friend right now. So just calm it down over there, ma'am.
This was also great because this was Phaedra dropping her Southern Belle thing once again to turn into Phaedra Parks, Esquire, and attorney at law. And she was basically giving her client advice. She was like, listen, when we step into that courtroom, you have to stop being an ice queen. You have to appeal to that jury. And Parvati just does not get it. But she was receiving, at that point, she was receiving legal advice.
Yes, she was receiving good legal advice, which I don't think Phaedra's ever been accused of giving, to be honest. So then she's Phaedra's like, well, Peter is such a strong influence. He's a gang leader, that one. He acts like he's in the mafia. And Parvati's like, well, yeah, he has a lot of henchmen following him around and doing whatever. I mean, I want you out of my castle, right? Oh, it's just disgusting.
So Parvati is like, okay, so we have Bergie, Trishelle, MJ, and Kate. And so Parvati's like, well, Kate, nobody suspects Kate to be a traitor. So she would be a great person. But then, but then there's also Bergie. That's Peter's yes man, you know? And Phaedra's like, yes. And then she's like, but then there's MJ. And Phaedra goes, oh, but MJ's a sweetheart. So they're basically just like deciding between the three of them. Personally, I think that they have to go for someone on their side to frame Peter for it, which is a heartbreak because I don't want to see MJ or Kate go, but I think that's going to be one of the plays.
Yeah. And Phaedra's totally fine. You know, she is cold-blooded because she says MJ is a sweetheart. And Parvati's like, well, she's never going to be put up for banishment and we can't use her as a shield. So do we want to murder her? She goes, okay, I'm with you. Well, that was easy. Jeez.
I know. And Parvati's like, I mean, why would we want to murder Trishelle? And Phaedra goes, well, she's in that little clique, the Peter Pals. I don't know, sort of working on that branding. And Parvati's like, well, he's got his cronies, and she's one of them. Like, you can't trust her. This is going to be our first kill in a while. And Paige goes, you got the taste for blood. Well, I hope we made the right decision tonight. This is a big one.
So, they're hoping that this is going to be the right decision, right? But we don't know what they're going to decide. Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's going to be MJ. I think Trishelle saying, I'm 100% getting murdered tonight is basically red herring. I think she's not going to get murdered. I think Phaedra saying that MJ's a sweetheart is like, oh, you think they might save her. I think it's going to be MJ. I think it's going to be someone on their side. I think it's going to be, and I think it's going to be MJ because MJ's also like, well, MJ and Kate are both pretty smart. So
I think it's going to be Trishelle because they have to get people out of that little clique. They can't just allow that clique to be. They can't allow that clique to thrive. They just can't. They need to do something.
But the thing is, if you get rid of Trishelle or Bergie, maybe it's gonna be Bergie because I don't think they even actually contemplated Bergie that much here. They just said they contemplated the others more. Bergie, I don't know, if you kill Bergie or Trishelle, it just makes Peter look more like he's a faithful. But then again, they could always plant a bug in Sandra's ear to say Peter killed one of his own to throw the scent off of himself. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think at this point they're under suspicion anyway, so they need to get out the threats. That's what I think. But who knows, really?
Yeah, I can't tell how it's going to go. I'm so excited.
I can't tell either, but I can't wait till they pick another traitor. Who do you think they're going to pick to be the next traitor? Or do they pick, or does, at this point, since they were turned down, is a traitor automatically assigned to them? I don't remember the rules.
I have no idea, but I guess we'll stay tuned. Everyone, thanks so much for Traitors. Thanks everyone for being here today to talk about Traitors. Don't forget to go to watchwhatcrappens.com where you can get tickets to our big show happening this Saturday in downtown LA. That's also that link. You can also get your streaming tickets, and you can also vote. Even if you're not coming, please vote. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.